More and more people in our society experience burnout at the moment. And this really comes from the thinking of the old paradigm where we are meant to accomplish something on the material plane, where it's all about creating financial success and stability, maybe even for your tribe, for your family. However, we're moving away from this old paradigm and into a time era which is all about personal self-fulfillment and finding the work or the job that really truly lights you up, where you are on fire for, and connecting with your right people and finding fulfillment in the little things in life, finding abundance within yourself and with your connection that you have to life and yourself. So in this video, we're going to explore all the different root causes why you might experience burnout and how you can deal with it so you come back into alignment and really create that beautiful life that is from the new paradigm which we're moving into, where you find the full fulfillment within yourself without exhausting yourself and without going into burnout. If you don't know me yet, my name is Leandra. I'm a human design expert and I work in the holistic health field. And if you would like to work with me one-on-one, you can get a reading done, or you can come to some of my classes and you find all the resources that you might need down below. And if you have not calculated your human design chart yet, also look down below, because there is the link to my app Era, which is completely free, where you can save yourself and some friends and their human design charts so you can follow along in this video. So let's get started with looking at some really common determinators which cause burnout. And I'm not going to say that if nothing of this applies to you, that you cannot experience burnout. Burnout is a big thing for basically literally everyone. However, some determinations are a little bit more subjective to that, and therefore it is a little bit harder to actually separate yourself from that. So the first type that often suffers from burnout, if we look at human design type, is the projector, because the projector is actually, from its energy, not here to work in the common sense, in the 9 till 5 society, but they have a lot of really focused energy that they can use in the best of that they can use in order to lead or guide or coach people, or be the overseer basically in a leadership role, in a soft and gentle leadership role, and not the ones who ideally stand there executing day after day and putting all this workforce energy to the table. However, the theme for the projector, that where they want to get to, is success. And often in our society, we connect success with the work that we put into something, with the hours that we put in, or even the financial success that comes along with that. So a lot of projectors try to achieve the success by working really hard, by exhausting themselves, but their energy system is really not well equipped to handle that, because you will have an open Sacralcenter, and only the Sacralcenter is here to work in the traditional sense. So you might master all your work in a very short amount of time, or be very focused, and after that you can feel your energy declining, or you're riding on the energy wave of other people, and then you feel like you're burning out by the end of the day when you come back into your own space. So we don't want to have that happen. So ideally, as a projector, you get, through your so-called strategy, invitations that will bring you into your right position, which is going to be maybe a leadership position, or a position where you can help others or coach others in some sort of way, where you can ideally also make your own work schedule, and you don't need to work harder, but you work smarter, so you have time to actually look within and look for your own health and well-being. Because often the projector forgets about their own health and well-being, because their focus is so much on the other that they truly don't understand that they're already half in a burnout, or that their energy resources are already really exhausted until it's too late. So if you are a projector, please be careful about your health, and please always check back in with yourself and look after your well-being, because your success is only gonna be as good as your own well-being is gonna be. So if you exhaust yourself, no one is gonna give you the right invitations, because you are exhausted, and people see that and feel that from you, because you are bitter, and no one wants to work with a bitter projector. But if you are magnetic, if you are in your energy, if you are charged up with life, that is when people will be attracted to you. That is when people want to come to you and ask you and invite you. So you need to look after yourself more than any other type and really look after your health and well-being, and not hustle and grind to think that the success is going to come. Because your success is going to come through the quality of your work, through the niche that you might have, because you're so specifically good at what you're good at that other people can recognize you and see you for that. The next thing that is a predetermination for a potential burnout is, if you look at your body graph, at the chart, if you have the bottom center, the bottom square white, if you have it open, which is the root center. Because the root center stands for stress, adrenaline, and drive. And people who have this defined, who have it colored in, are naturally going to have this drive and this power to get things moving, to move in a fast pace with a lot of adrenaline. And people who have it open are here in the opposite, to be in their very own pace, to not get stressed and hectic about things, to really get their own time zone and their own time limits. And they're here to be an absolute chillers, basically. But often they feel it from other people so intensely that they hustle harder and that they get more stressed than anyone else and work on a lot of adrenaline. And that can easily, as you can imagine, result into stressing yourself all day long and going into a burnout, especially when paired with a lot of other determinators. So you need to really have a good stress handling or stress management. So going into nature, for example, breathing, anything else that helps you get rid of stress and let go of all this stress that you might feel from other people, because otherwise you're just going to get faster and faster and faster, because the idea behind it is that the faster you do things, the more stress you do things, the faster you will be free of pressure, which is not going to be the case. It's just going to be more and more and more and piling up. So you need to completely let go, find your own pace, say no to things that you know you cannot do or accomplish, and find your own timeline with things, because otherwise a burnout can happen really, really quickly. The next thing is the open sacral. And as we said already, the projectors always have the open sacral, but also reflectors and manifestors have an open Sacralcenter. And this is the second square from the bottom. If this is not colored in your case, then you have an open sacral, because only generators have a defined sacral, an active sacral. The generators are here to do, go, go. They are the ones here to create, to work. But everyone with an open sacral does not have sustainable and reliable workforce energy, which means sometimes you have a workforce energy, but sometimes you don't. And you should not overdo the things. You should not every day from morning to evening work, go, because this is gonna take energy that is not there. And you will feel extremely exhausted by the end of the day. So a manifestor can maybe work in pulses. They will get this immense amount of energy where they have a lot of ideas and just want to push it out, go, and then they need some resting phases. With the projector, ideally, as we said before, they just focus really short hours, and their quality of their work is going to be the determinator on how good their work is, on how much success they can achieve. And as for the reflector, ideally they're really here to flow and also not have a job that requires them to just go every morning from 9 till 5 and work and do. Whereas a generator, if they found their theme of expertise or the theme that lights them up, they can keep on going, because the Sacralcenter is constantly recharging the energy every day again, and therefore they can just keep on going. So if you have an open Sacralcenter, you need to be extra careful as well that you don't go in the executing work, in the do work all day long and every day, because also that might exhaust you. And as a generator type, if you follow the wrong thing for you, if you follow something that is bringing you frustration and not satisfaction, as we just said, this is also a potential for burnout, because even though you have this precious energy, that doesn't mean that it will automatically be there for you every day and that it will be sustainable for you if you use it into the things that don't bring you satisfaction. And that is why it's so crucial for a generator to really follow along your step-by-step strategy and authority, which you can check out in the previous video that I've recorded. on how to actually engage with life, on how to manifest the things that are right for you, so you can find that fulfillment and you can find that satisfaction in your life, because only then you will have the sustainable life force energy. And then the next thing is the ego center. So if we look at the body graph, this is the tiny little triangle that we see. It's a tiny center with very few gates, but it is a very, very powerful one. And not a lot of people actually have it. 1/3 to 1/4 of the population only has it, this energy activated, and everyone else has it open. Which means this energy stands for willpower, for ego, self energy. So not the spiritual ego, but the ego from like self-confident, being resting in yourself, having a determination, having this clear goal and then really shooting for it, the straight willpower to, no matter what, reach your goals. So only around 1/3 of the humanity is here to actually prove themselves, really constantly go for it, go forward with all this willpower, whereas the other part of society, and that might be you, because it's around 70% of people have this open, which means there is no consistent willpower, there is no consistent determination. So the shadow self thinks they need to prove themselves and push harder and constantly work with willpower and determination, so they're valuable, so they're worthy, so they can find themselves, their ego within themselves. Which is not going to happen, because you need to learn how to find confidence within yourself without actually needing to prove, without needing to go and go with this willpower and determination all the time. Because if you constantly push hard, you're going to exhaust yourself, and that is also potentially showing up in your health, that you really get health issues because you push yourself to the max. And you will be disappointed of yourself when you do not follow through, because you're not meant to always follow through everything that you say. And that might result in you feeling less than and comparing yourself with everyone else around you and feeling like a failure. And that is going to go really hard on your confidence, where again you think you need to prove yourself now even harder, do more, push harder, so you can prove your worth, so you can prove your value. And that is really what I feel is the biggest challenge, or one of the biggest challenges that we have and experience in the world at the moment, because so many people try to prove their worth through work or through accumulating more material resources, whereas actually they don't even need it, right? But you want more and more and more. It's never enough. And because on the core of that is, I'm not good enough. I need to accumulate more. I need to have more material things. I need to prove my worth because I work more. So the goal is to come to all of that without any external things and without needing to prove yourself all the time, but knowing that you have nothing to prove, and you can come always back to your so-called strategy and authority that you can check out in the previous video to see what is in alignment with you. Because we all have different goals and a different way to get there, and it's not always right to push through. And this is another huge factor for people experiencing burnout, when you constantly push, although you're not here to push and prove yourself. Whereas for the people who have this energy, it is right and correct to do so. It is right and correct to say, I'm not going to do that, this is my guideline and I'm going to go for it. However, also then you need breaks, because the heart energy, the ego energy, is working in pulses. Sometimes it gives you a lot of energy, and then it needs a little bit of a contraction. And then it gives you a pulse of energy and contraction again. So you need to also give yourself some downtimes from it, that you not always go, push, but only if it feels like the energy is there, and then give yourself a little resting break, and then you can go out and do it again. So this is another huge one which is connected with burnout. And let's say you have all of these together, then you need to be extra mindful and extra careful not to slip into the shadow parts of these, as we were just saying, but really get your stress management right, not over execute or do like a generator if you're not a generator type, and not trying to consistently prove yourself, because all of these things easily might lead you into doing too much. And what is it for, right? Like then you are exhausted, specifically if you're a projector. If you're exhausted, you will not attract any invitations which you need in order to move forward and engage with life. If you're a generator and you're burned out because you're constantly stressed, because you have an open root center, you're trying to prove yourself because you have an open ego, and you're working in the wrong field and you're frustrated, this is also not going to attract really things that are in alignment with you and that you can respond to, which is your so-called strategy. So you can already see that you will only interact with life and manifest all the things that are right for you if you are following your energy, your unique energy, and really take a specific look if that or one of or the other thing applies to you, so you don't land into burnout, because the world needs your energy. The world needs you because you're here for a reason. You bring your unique part into this, which doesn't look like anyone else's. So your goals are different than everyone else's. And the first thing is to decondition from everything that society has taught you, that you have to have your shit together by 30, or you have to be married, you have to get kids, you have to have the 9-to-5 job. Maybe that doesn't apply to you, right? Maybe that does apply to you, but maybe it doesn't, and that's totally fine as well. You don't need to adjust to anything just because someone else is telling you. You need to walk your path, and you need to go step by step in the process. And if you want to know more on how to do that, I would highly suggest to watch my last video, where I'm really going into depth on how you can manifest your dream life through your strategy and your so-called authority to move further along your lifeline and into your purpose. And if you want to find out more about your purpose, I have a membership channel here. So you can join that for only $4.99 a month, where it's all about finding your purpose and how you can embody and live your purpose, with a lot of extra videos, with a lot of PDFs that you can download and where you can read more, which you can fill out to find your purpose if you are lost or stuck. It is highly transformational, so I highly suggest to join my membership. Also, if you have new content ideas, just let me know. I'm always happy to connect with you. Let me know down in the comments. And if you're still here, you might consider subscribing to my channel, because every week I bring out a new video like this, and I'm always happy to see you here. With that being said, I'm sending you so much love and a bye. I see you next time.